Hi everyone, Curt Weeden. Welcome to NFC, your nonprofit fundraising channel, and this presentation about the dollar value of volunteer service. I'm joined today by our NFC co-host, Tanya Smith-Evans. Hey, Tanya.
Hi, Curt.
You know, as you know, Tanya, many of our other NFC 5-minute moneymakers focus on revenue streams that most nonprofits report on their annual federal tax return using Form 990. Now, the government asks nonprofits to give detailed information on funds received through gifts and grants, fee-for-service activities, and even unrelated business revenue.
I know there's another line on there that has particular significance to you, and that's the line around volunteers, and particularly company employee volunteers. Can you tell us a little bit about why you find that could be such a great asset for folks?
Take a look at this frame, Tanya. This is a pre-pandemic look at volunteerism in America. You see that the median annual number of hours that volunteers gave or donated to nonprofits was around 52 hours a year. Well, then add to that this average number of just 1 hour of volunteer time equates to around $27 according to monitoring groups like the independent sector. Well, you know, do the math. $27 times 52 hours a year. That's a healthy amount of money that's flowing into, or value at least, that's flowing into the nonprofit community. Now, unfortunately, the IRS does not allow a nonprofit to include this in-kind contribution of time to its revenue line. But even so, what volunteers do in providing this service is it allows the nonprofit organization to offset costs of other functions that it would otherwise have to raise money in order to cover those expenses if it weren't for volunteers. So consequently, they provide a really valuable revenue-related function to almost any nonprofit in the country.
But I want to make sure we add something in here. Not only can volunteers be a cost offset, they can also lower the cost of your overhead expenses.
You know, we define overhead usually as the sum of administrative costs plus fundraising expenses with some other related costs thrown in as well. But it's important to remember that many potential donors, and this isn't just businesses, it could be foundations and especially individuals, look at overhead as a key factor in making a yes or no decision when it comes to funding a nonprofit.
Right. And they sort of look at that overhead as far as how low or how high it is in relation to the overall for the organization. It's just that we know that having volunteers can be a clear help for nonprofits, irrespective of the industry.
You're right, Tanya. Volunteers certainly do have a monetary impact on nonprofits. It's a point often overlooked since that dollar value is not reported on a nonprofit's 990 form. So when it comes to volunteers, consider these NFC takeaways. First, remember that volunteers can offset expenses that nonprofits would otherwise have to pay for. And second, although the dollar value of volunteer times cannot be reported on 990 forms, consider using other print or social media communications to recognize how financially important volunteers actually are to your organization. And third, keep in mind that by offsetting expenses, volunteers actually improve the overhead ratio for a nonprofit. And finally, look to corporations as a place where groups of employee volunteers might be recruited, keeping in mind that companies often designate cash donations to nonprofits when and where employees donate their time. Interested in other NFC 5-minute nonprofit moneymaker ideas? Well, hit the subscribe icon and get quick, informative fundraising tips from the Nonprofit Fundraising channel. This is Curt Weeden saying thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you again soon.